As we pass the halfway point here in day number 2, we are back for more at the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series Valencia, as we'll be having probably some oracles blowing up like those bubbles in this next series. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Nathanius, joined by the one and only Tastosis up on the desk. Hopefully you've been enjoying today's show. Gentlemen, you guys hopefully been having some fun, Artosis.
I have been having a blast all day long. I mean, it's great games, all the best players. What more do you want?
You agree? Tasteless.
It's been kicking ass, Nate. This has been amazing.
That's what I like to hear.
Some epic fights.
That is what I like to hear. And,
it's good.
You know,
what a time to be alive, Nate.
I heard a rumor. I stay up till 3 in the morning to try and watch you guys commentate the Korean players. And I heard some of you like to stay up late to watch some of these American players.
Yeah.
That's right.
Pretty good.
Well, one American player in particular, Nate.
And who might that be, Artosis?
Can I give you guys a hint?
Who?
His name's spelled backwards. Is Bean.
No, it's not. It's Ben.
Oh, okay, my bad. I never learned how to read, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, we got a great matchup coming up. We've got I don't know why that broke me, but I don't know why it sounds like that right now. It's going to be Neeb, of course, the American Protoss player who won 2 WCS circuit titles in a row last year, then picked up Marshall to end things. We make the comparison for Neeb to Cyril so far, but that means that Cyril has to lose this tournament if he wants to completely match him. But he played very well yesterday. We got to see some very strong play out of Neeb.
No, he looked really good, and during his interview even, he mentioned that, like, oh yeah, my PvZ is really good right now. I'm feeling strong in it. I think I can even beat Cyril, you know? Which is, he's up against a Zerg here in Bly, who, by the way, also said, yeah, give me Cyril, I don't care. We have a lot of really confident players going up against each other now coming up.
And I think that's been one of the cooler parts about this. Of course, Bly is the storied player in terms of he's played, I think that stat from the last tournament in Austin was he's played over 9,000 competitive games of StarCraft 2.
Over 9,000!
I'm one of you guys, nerds.
Hey, fellow school kids.
Yeah, that's. I think that meme is old enough to be ours.
That's right.
Yeah, it is.
We got to own that one.
Hey, kids these days.
That's my childhood.
I mean, if you wanted to match the kids these days, you'd probably be dabbing Artosis. Thank God you're not doing that.
I left my fidget spinners at home.
Yeah. Series against Optimus yesterday, so we had to see Bly doing what Bly does best. He's really good at handling situations with chaos. It's probably one of the most difficult players to rattle. You never really see his spirit broken.
You know, I'm always rooting for Bly. We've been watching him play for a long time. It's kind of cool watching a lot of these guys grow up and turn into young adults. And he was a great player back in the day. I think he's definitely someone who, well, obviously, as we're seeing here, could still hold his own. Yeah. But it's going to be tough for him to advance, for sure.
He's always super dangerous. It's just like when he hits a real tournament favorite, like if you look at the short list of people who can win Valencia, Neeb is on it. So can he beat someone like Neeb? Because if he can, the whole tournament opens up.
I think a lot of people interested to see how this goes because Neeb was upset last year by the tournament runner-up, Mana, who upset a lot of people. Can he get his momentum going again? Let's see our players up on the stage. I believe Smix is out there to introduce him and get us into the second half of our tournament.
You are right indeed, Nathanius. I'm so excited to get this second half of the bracket going. We have 2 players on fire. We'll see which player lights up the stage to move forward to the quarterfinals. Please welcome up on stage. It is Neeb and Bly.
Bly, feeling energized as ever. Getting up onto the stage. Going up against Neeb.
Keep it together, everyone.
Neeb's got a smile on his face, a little bit thrown off, perhaps.
Intimidated, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, how couldn't you be? I mean, that's a running man right there.
Yeah, Bly looking to try to outdo.
He has Zergling speed done before the game begins. How do you stop such a thing?
That's right. How do you get that before you even mind the gas? It's already finished.
It's crazy.
I'm waiting for the day where instead of walking onto the stage, Neeb's like, oh, I already have Gateway done, or Warp Gate done, just teleports into the booth just there. It's like, how did you shake my hands? I don't know.
I don't know.
Playing Wings of Liberty against you.
Oof, the old times. It's a cool match though. Neeb comes in as a player who occasionally mixes it up, but is known for playing solid, playing just very straight up, very straightforward.
Yeah.
Bly, we anticipate that he'll probably try to do something a little bit unorthodox to take out a guy like Neeb.
If Bly gets to the late game, that's where he'll flounder, right? Like, Neeb is one of the absolute best Protoss in the world if we get to, like, maxed out armies. In fact, he's one of the only people who's ever killed Rogue in that situation, the defending world champion. Whereas Bly, if he gets in that situation, it's kind of weird. You're like, you're on 56 drones. You can't remake this, you know, and it gets weird. So, yeah, I think it's going to be very aggressive from Bly. He's going to have some sort of trick up his sleeve.
I think the problem with that, though, is that you have to imagine Neeb is just aware of that. So if he plays a cautious game, if he's a little bit more conservative than normal, he should be fine. There's always a problem if you're an aggressive player that is known for that and that you can't play a late game. You know, it's a little bit different from what we've seen with Scarlet. Scarlet can do kind of everything, but...
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for your input. Thank you, Tasteless.
I have a lot more to say. But.
Well, we have a game, and I think the people in the Twitch chat will get very mad if we don't go to the game. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Neeb versus Bly.
It wouldn't just be Twitch chat, Nate. I'd be mad if this series was delayed as well, because we're about to cast it with one of my best friends, Todd. How you doing, my man? How you feeling about this series?
It's gonna be great. Bly already getting the mind game started with that walkover.
I might have seen that in another video game, but I can't put my finger on it. In the bottom right here, from North America and Ting, this is Neeb.
A lesser video game than StarCraft 2, no doubt.
There is no video game that's better, so that's easy to say. In the top left, from Team Expert, the Ukrainian Zerg, pausing. Good intro.
Keep going.
Yeah, they did the music and everything. Nice. Well, we've got a bit of a pause here from Bly. Not too sure what's going on, but so let's talk about the series a little bit more. Obviously, Neeb has sort of the winning record against Bly. Bly had a pretty good performance in Challenger.
Yeah.
Didn't get all the way, but he had a very, very impressive performance, specifically in his group in the later stages of Challenger. He did a very, very good job.
He lost in the last match against Mana, and that was a 2-3. So, I mean, nothing to be ashamed of, considering how well Mana has been playing as of late. But now he goes up against a Neeb who's really strong in the matchup, who's got a 16-7 record against Bly. Even though Neeb did lose in Challenger for the first time in a very, very long time, he didn't make it through Challenger there. He lost to Silky in the qualifying match.
And you know what? Silky is kind of a North American Bly. He's very, very similar in that he has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. There are a lot of really creative strategies that he's, specifically I remember in the series between Neeb and Silky. Silky specifically in the last couple maps was starting to get really aggressive and start to, really deal with Neeb. And that's kind of the way that you deal with these scary players. You get aggressive, you get weird. And I'm just going to introduce this guy again because we didn't get to say his name. In the top left, this is Bly. I have that power. I can make the music come. I can make the observer zoom in.
There's nothing you can do.
Beat either of these two players. There you go. I've answered that question.
Neeb definitely going to need to be on point here in this matchup against Bly. There's not much room for mistakes at all. I expect him to be honest, not necessarily to have to do anything special, but rather to focus on the basics. Just open Stargate, get your scouting going, make sure you don't miss anything, because Bly is the one that's supposed to be doing special things here and there to try and win. Because in a normal game, especially if we were to go into the later stages of the game, I really feel like his chances are going to greatly diminish as time passes by. So I expect Bly to get aggressive, try and get into Neeb's face, surprise him here and there with a few things, whether it's, a Mutalist transition. We could be seeing crazy things like a Nidus, Lings run by, any kind of roach attack. He's going to have to be the one to make stuff happen. Maybe drops. Anything that you can be aggressive with to try and surprise the opponent.
Well, no surprises from Neeb so far. A Stargate opener here from the Protoss, which is super, super common in this matchup. It's actually super rare to see not a Stargate go down for a Protoss at the beginning against a Zerg. What comes out of the Stargate is the question more than does the structure get dropped down. And Bly does have this spawning pool all the way on the edge there, and that's just to help him out with a bit of map vision. It makes it harder for you to like warp in on the edge of the main or something like that with a warp prism when the spawning pool's giving you that little bit extra vision.
Yeah, but if you don't have anything there though, and 12's warp in, then Merry Christmas. How do you say Merry Christmas in Ukrainian?
Ask Bly afterwards if I remember.
Well, that'd be sick.
The Adept here of Neeb coming into the main and having a bit of a look. Should be able to shade and survive here. There's not enough DPS in the army of Bly to be able to actually dispatch that unit, so... Oh, a second Adept being met up here, and he can actually start to hit these drones. Nice move there from Neeb.
Yeah, actually, Blight did a pretty good job of pulling those drones away and bringing back Lynx, attacking with the Queen as well. One more drone's gonna die, but that's gonna be it. So 3 drones falling for 2 Adepts there. Neeb on 34 walkers against the 24 of Bly. He's looking to try and catch up now. Will go for his second tactical pause. He will have 1 left after this one.
And he can't believe what the computer is doing to him. He's trying to talk to it. It's not how technology works, at least not just yet.
It's running too good.
Yeah. Siri.
Because it's an Alienware computer. Not used of having that high FPS.
Well, it says Alienware monitor at least. Now, a little bit of a pause here from Bly again. Of course, all conditions need to be pretty secure here for both players. You don't want to have to just rough it in a tournament match on the stage. It is single elim at this point, the round of 16. In fact, from here onwards, all single elim. Lose a series, you're gone.
Yeah.
So you don't want to have any problems at all.
I like that it's best of 5, but I feel like the favorite a lot of the time is going to be advantaged by that. But you can try and use that to your advantage if you feel that you're the underdog, which for Bly a lot of the time, even though we all think he is, he doesn't personally think he is. He always looks at every matchup and thinks that he's the favorite. If he does the right things that he's supposed to do, he'll be all right. We even saw a quote of his in the ticker earlier, where he was saying that it's not so much about his opponents and players, but rather about matchups. As I was reading the ticker, actually, I thought he was going to go full Rocky and say that his biggest enemy was himself, but no, not quite. But maybe that's kind of how he thinks anyway.
I think it's wonderful that he has that kind of confidence. Neeb's one of those players that, you know, maybe if he has the confidence, you don't know about it because he keeps it to himself. He's a very humble player, you know, like Cyril, who always says, you know, I'm not that good, even though they very clearly are.
He has definitely projected a little bit of confidence here, though, even saying that he might be able to do well against Cyril, so which is as rare as it gets. That's basically him being extremely cocky at this stage.
Yeah, that is the cocky version of Neeb there. A very reserved gentleman. 3 queens means, Oracle, get on out of here. Circles around there. And right next to that GG spray of Neeb's probe is that layer of Bly going down. Saves that drone by turning into Spore Crawl. You can DPS this down, though.
Yeah,
got enough energy.
You have to use a lot of energy for it, though, yeah. I like that Bly did that, actually, because he was able to skip the Spore in the main and in the natural. And look, his lair is pretty fast. What do we see here out of Bly?
That's actually a nice little delay there, like even though it's only a couple seconds.
Yeah. Do we see a Hydralisk Den being dropped down as soon as he finishes lair? He's making links right now to make sure he has enough against the Adepts. Yeah, Hydra Den is going to be dropped down as well as 2 more gases.
Oh, wow.
My God.
Massive stasis catch there on the natural of Bly. He tried to pull it out, but at the last second, got caught there on so many drones. Observer trying to count for us there. Whew. It's a lot. So that's, you know, they're not kills, but that's denied mining time, which is really fantastic. It's the same as basically having a drones pulled into a corner not doing anything.
All his assets have been frozen.
The bank of Neeb has frozen his assets. Shade towards the natural. This is more of a scout than a committal, I'd imagine. Too many links.
He's not supposed to shade in there with just this. I don't think that would do anything at all, especially before Resonating Glaives.
Oh, man, this is vintage Neeb. Resonating Glaives, lots of Adepts, Oracles.
Sometimes that's what you need. Just bring back the old school style. I believe the Hydralisk Den was spotted. Now here's the big question. Do we see a Lurker Den out of Bly, or is it just a lot of Hydralisks and into what? An attack? Does he macro more? He's taking 1 more Extractor and still making drones. Bailing Nest is going to be dropped right now. He's still getting a lot of links.
He's really scared about a huge number of Adepts here. That's what that Bailing Nest is. Yeah, he absolutely should be. They're going to have Resonating Glaives in a couple seconds here. And Neeb is heading towards that very important splash damage. Going to go towards Storm here, which is going to be great against the Hydralisks. Archons as well, which is just great overall.
Oh
Big shade from Neeb. Stasis Ward actually body blocking for these Adepts a little bit. He's going to do a lot of damage here.
Yeah, so many of these drones were caught. Once again, he's going to shade towards the main base. In the meantime, Neeb not missing a beat back at home. He's mining a lot of gas, dropping down the Templar Archives. He's going to be able to choose whether he wants to go into Archons or Storm directly.
Look at this drone damage, and his Adepts are still alive as well. I mean, one of them's hard sneeze away from dying. There it goes. But 3 of them are still alive, and they're just chasing these drones, bounce between the natural and third. Oracle coming in to help as well. Not much energy on it, but enough to make sure a dozen drones go down here. Blybe on a 45 drone economy with 3 hatcheries. Meanwhile, the Protoss, 3 Nexus, 63 probes. And already a robotics facility and Storm producing units.
Oh, he kills so much. If Big was there, it'd say it's been an absolute bloodbath.
It has been a bloodbath.
And Storm gonna be rushed here for Neeb, who I think knows that Bly has to rebuild his economy, and he's gonna have time to assemble a good amount of High Templars. And as soon as you hit 6 High Templars with a Storm each, you can fight this army very comfortably and do very well against it.
That is the big question here, is how's he going to do against this army? His army at the moment actually looks very weak to Hydralisks. He only has a couple of Adepts, 1 Immortal. The High Templar don't have Storm just yet, so they have to turn into an Archon to help him fight. Storm is only 2/3 of the way done here for Neeb. He's just starting to forge now to get those +1 attack upgrades for his ground units. But I think if a bunch of Hydras actually committed there from Bly, it would have done a lot. But he's really respecting this defensive location of Neeb.
Yeah, it would be an all-in, basically. If he made more units and wanted to attack, it'd be very risky. So he prefers to kind of just rebuild his economy, try to take it in a longer game. But you can expect Neeb not to really make too many mistakes from there. He knows what he has to follow this up with. He's getting charged. He's adding a Forge for an upgrade. We even see Neeb actually go for double Forge sometimes, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, that's starting to creep its way into PvZ a little bit. Normally it's just a single Forge for attack upgrades, possibly even shield later on, but double Forge is a style that Mana started to do a little bit in Austin against, and you know, he got a couple maps off Cyril, so it's pretty powerful. That's sort of heavier gateway style.
The Prism beautifully sent towards the main base. That spawning pool location might be tested there in a second, but he moves forward on the right-hand side at the same time. Okay, no, it's just going to be 2 Adepts for now. Neeb doesn't have to commit just yet, and he can still do some damage there.
I mean, getting a bunch of drone kills at this point after Bly's already lost so many is going to be pretty nice for Neeb here. Bly just starting to get +1 attack melee for those Lings. This is going to be Lingbane Hydra for a while here for Bly. It'll be tough for him to do anything else for a fair bit, but he's double expanding to try and come back a little bit in economy. Neeb already with a fleet beacon here. That's really quick.
Yeah, that's pretty early. Usually you'd want to wait until that 4th base is already kind of set up and you've got up to 160, 170 supply, but now he might be feeling so comfortable with his current army against what Bly has that he's like, you know what? Let me warm up my macro muscles in map number 1. I know I'm doing pretty well. I know in late game I'm not too worried about you, so I'll just get a mothership, grab a mothership. If I need to, I'll go into Tempest or Ore Carriers as well. And I'll just have some fun. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
That's it. I think the mothership low makes a lot of sense here. We got a nice shade here from Bly, or rather from Neeb, with Bly in position with those Hydras on the left-hand side. He shouldn't take too much more damage. There we go, he's taking it down. It's Adept finding its way somehow to the 3rd base. And Neeb's army starting to grow here as +1 attack finishes for both players. He's going to have, how's his Immortal count? He's only on the 1 robotics facility, I believe. So yeah, not that many. So he's going to have to rely on pretty much Storms, basically, to deal with the Hydralisks. And there's Mama. Mama's coming. She's going to help her babies by cloaking them. Shepherd them to the other side of the map. That's right.
Unlike the World Cup.
Her kids.
England's. +2 melee starting now for Bly. And 2 more gases as well. Push spreading on this map is really not that hard, but Bly is only focusing on the left-hand side, which is actually a little bit surprising. I definitely feel like you could have put more effort towards the middle. Oh my god! It worked!
Only +1 attack on that Baneling, otherwise a lot of probes would have done.
10 Mutalisks.
Yeah.
This is like such a Bly move.
I mean,
like you might not have enough cannons in your bases for you to defend comfortably against this, so I'll just kind of fly around and kill stuff.
I mean, I think that Mutalisks are starting to find their way into CVP a little bit more these days as well, because they can just dive and pick off those High Templar, force Archons, force Storms out of you, and then all of a sudden your Hydras as a result become more powerful. So this is a nice move from Bly. Potentially, I mean, it could get shut down completely by Archons.
We've seen that sometimes, not do any damage, and then the Protoss just kind of attacks and kills him. Storming his own probes.
Yeah, he actually did a lot more damage to his own probes on the Mutas just now.
Nothing personal. Had to be done.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
2 more Stargates being dropped down. Neeb, it feels like he has no intention of attacking anytime soon here. It's almost as if, I mean, Bly is known not to play as well the later we go into the game. It's almost as if Neeb is like, you know what? Let's go to the really late game. Let's split the map. Let's just, I want to break your confidence from game number 1 in this best of 5. I want you to go into game 2 knowing that you have to all in me and nothing else will work.
Well, Bly's getting Anion Pulse Crystals for Phoenix range there on that fleet beacon, and it looks like he might want to get into carrier at some point with the amount of Stargates he's gotten, but just defenses for now.
The production tab is so scary as we have an engagement here in the middle. Bly's going to have to run away from that. There's still a lot of High Templars with Storm available. Neeb finally moving into an attack there. And if I look at the production tab, 12 Mutalisk against triple Phoenix production +1 attack and an Ion Pulse Crystals. This is a nightmare scenario for the Zerg player here right now.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like these mutas are meant to catch Neeb with not enough anti-air and just wipe out this heavy ground force, the High Templar, these Immortals, which are so common in PvZ, really get deleted by these mutas when they're in high count. He's even getting +1 attack for the mutas, so he's just, if he wasn't already committing a ton of resources, the mutas is a little bit extra in there just to show you that he's going to really commit to this air army. And, I mean, triple Stargate production, like you said, Todd, that's a bad news bear situation for Bly. He's coming in with those mutas, killing a couple Stalkers, nice bit of damage there. But here come the Phoenixes, and there's those beautiful purple Anion Pulse Crystal upgrades.
Who are you gonna call? Ranged Phoenixes to deal with this. And I mean, those mutas, they're not supposed to... I guess he might sack them to try and kill some Phoenixes and maybe some probes, but they can't... There is no way they'll escape.
No,
if Zerg... Maybe in StarCraft 4, Zerg will have recall and they'll get out, but not this time.
Not even StarCraft 3. We have to go through 2 whole games.
Yeah.
Another 4 expansions to wait until Zerg gets recall. And it's for the
StarCraft 3 is going to get 5 expansions.
Oh, damn. Phoenixes, the Hydras. Uh-oh. I mean, these Phoenixes are a fair bit of the army here for Neeb. So there's this pretty scary push from Bly. The Storms are going to be on point. Oh, there comes Mama from the north. She's got her babies underneath there with a bunch more Storms available. There's High Templar quite high on energy.
Oh, the Banelings.
The Banelings trying to roll in. They have +2.
Some good splits here from Neeb, trying to save a lot of his probes here. You don't want to lose too many at once. And Bly actually kind of forgetting about some of his units on the left side. Only 3 probes died.
That's insane to me.
Wow.
3 probes died to +2 upgraded Banelings, Lings, and a ton of Hydras. Neeb, are you serious?
And he's going to carry production now. And this is going to be bad news for Bly, who I don't think plays as many late game PvZs as Neeb does. Most certainly not. Upgraded carries. I feel like Neeb just kind of loves this kind of situation. We remember his game at BlizzCon, I think it was against Rogue.
Yeah, the Fist of Neeb.
Yeah, the Golden Armada. 199 army supply, pure air, just crushing Zerg, even with defense and spores with their army.
It's a legendary game of StarCraft 2, that one. On Mech Depot, I think it was. He's like, he went down to 1 probe or even 0 probes, like killed all of his probes and had a maxed out air army. It's insane. Now keep in mind, these Bentleys have +2 if they go straight to the probe line. Could potentially get a lot done here.
Good reflex, clumping up.
It
loses a few more probes, but at this stage it's almost irrelevant. Like he can replace that easily, and there is no risk of actually dying to a follow-up attack behind this.
These Phoenix is going out for, I guess, a bit of a scout, maybe deny a bit of overlords.
He can't sack them at this stage, to be honest. They do nothing for his army.
That's quite true.
If you sack them and then the opponent makes a lot of mutas, you could be in trouble. But I mean, we are
the Viper.
Oh my God.
Transfusions from Bly to keep it alive. This Viper is extremely important. It's his only chance, really, against these the carriers to abduct a couple of them, pull them into the Hydra Ball. And he only has the 1, so even then, it's very, very grim for Bly to be able to deal with these carriers. Triple Stargate production still there for Neeb. Double abduct on those Phoenixes, down they go. It means that Viper doesn't have a whole lot of energy now. I like that Bly is actually getting Carapace here for his fly units. So the Corruptor's going to have a bit more staying power. Because they already have +1 attack, so it's about what you want here against the carriers.
By the way, that one Cryptum on the left side had some nice progress all the way down. That's pretty cool, actually, blocking that now.
Don't think we'll be seeing Neeb attack down that path of the acid plant here.
I mean, he might want to expand eventually. I guess he'll have to clean that up. But yeah, we're going to that stage of the game now where it's about assembling the best maxed out army that you can assemble, and Zerg might start adding some static defense into their composition, but Bly is actually waiting right now. You see minerals and gas-wise, he's waiting to decide what he wants to get. It feels like there's almost no really good choice. There's not many Void Rays, actually, not any at all, so maybe more Corruptors might help. But he's going for more Hydralisks, actually, and going for a counter-attack here, trying to buy some time. Neeb will not allow that to happen. He goes for the counter-attack.
At the moment, Neeb is kind of allowing it to happen. Those Hydras are doing a lot of damage on the right-hand side, but the main fight here is going well for Neeb so far. He is going to recall at least part of his army. And continuing with Mother at the front here, protecting his High Templar. The Corruptors are trying to dive for these carriers, but look at this army spread from Neeb. They're going for the Mothership, and they won't even get it. Mama's too powerful. She's keeping her babies alive. They're storming the Hydras. And that's actually it for Bly. He just doesn't have anything left here. Neeb is going to be able to just barrel on through the Ukrainian Zerg.
The double time mark.
That's just too much here. GG. Neeb, the 3-time WCS American champion. It's getting game number 1 here on stage here in Valencia. Strong start to the series.
Yeah. Could have finished the game earlier, but chose to kind of take his time, not rush in there, really flex his macro muscles. Go for the later stages, grab a mothership, get some carriers, and I think in the process really break Bly's confidence in the longer game. I feel like from there, if you're Bly, you have to think, I have to play a quicker match. Try to be more aggressive early on. But in this case, he didn't even get the opportunity to go what he wanted for, perhaps, because that was Neeb pressuring with the basic units that you get in the start of the game, Oracles, Adepts, and doing a ton of damage.
Yeah. Felt like there was a bit of potential for Bly to do a lot of damage with some of his run bys. Some of his attacks on the Nexus I expected to do a lot more damage, specifically that one where down at the third base location, the bottom south spawn there of Acid Plant, when he was coming in and barreling through with a bunch of +2 attack Banelings and Lings and all these Hydras and stuff, I could not believe Neeb only lost 3 probes. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, he managed really well, like the Zealot warp-in to block off the Banelings away from the probes. And even when the Banelings did get in, he splits his probes to make sure he wouldn't lose too many. Actually, what happened in the starts, it reminds me of a quote from Combat Sports, which is basically, everybody has a game plan up until you get punched in the face. I feel that's what happened for Bly. He definitely had a game plan of something that he wanted to do there, but then Adepts and Oracles got on the other side of the map and started inflicting a lot of damage. His assets were frozen, man. His drones. Yeah. That was so many. That was the most drones I think I've ever seen.
That's the biggest stasis ward I've ever seen since that meta since that strat first existed. Where Protoss has realized that they could stasis ward drones, do a bit of damage economically. Bly had a bit of a hotkey issue. That was probably why we had pauses in game 1, but appears to be resolved here for game 2, and it is going to be on 16 bits. And it's up right here, up 1 in the series from North America. This is Neeb. And in the bottom left here from Ukraine, this is Team Expert, Bly. Cast of 22, when?
Revenge of the Roddy.
Revenge of the Roddy, wow.
Not anytime soon for him. That revenge is never gonna happen. We'll see, perhaps soon.
Pressure's on, Todd. You got the crowd chanting at you through this power of the science.
Neeb actually with a really nice block. Wow. I think he knew that Bly really wanted to commit to grabbing that, or he thought so, but Bly actually went for the archery elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean...
So he forced that pocket expansion to be taken.
Yeah, and you have to. So this slows down the creature spread a little bit for the Zerg. It's not hugely consequential, and you know, Neeb's canceling that pylon, obviously, so he's not, you know, committing a whole 100 minerals to this block. Just
You know, Bly's the one guy against who you really should be careful with those blocks and like treating him like a regular Zerg. You know, like regular Zergs, they really want to expand. If you slow them down, then they'll still expand eventually. Bly, you don't have to push him too much for him to be like, all right, you want me to cheese, I'll cheese. That's it.
Yeah, poke the bear, be ready to be bit in the face.
Exactly.
Got Neeb just being cute here with these probes, trying to grab some minerals here.
You mess with the bull, you get the horns.
That's right.
Maynard.
It's very, very true. I would not mess with bulls. I was watching the running of the bulls on TV a little bit yesterday, or the day before, rather.
Really?
Yeah. I was on TV at the cafe. We're having lunch out, and nope. That's a big fat nope for me.
You know, I'm kind of sad we don't do like more theme stuff, like go to explore, you know, like dress Nathanias as a matador and put him in the arena with a couple bulls, you know, so he can experience the local...
Whip the red cape and then Tastosis appear from underneath it. I'd pay to see it.
Me too.
Well, so far, just Neeb going for a pretty regular opening here, getting that Stalker out to push back Overlord scouting from Bly. Could potentially go for something a little bit sneakier here. He's getting around that 150 gas, so we'll see if he goes Stargate or not, and it's going to be a Robo this time.
Yeah, perhaps looking to get aggressive with stuff like Adepts.
Yeah, War Prism.
Even the old school, or like anything with the Twilight Council, to be honest, whether it's Charge, Glaives. Don't think he's going to be a Dark Templar opener necessarily. Like, most likely not. And Lair already started here for Bly, so he always seems to kind of get that very quick on the way. And it's on his pocket expansion, so maybe he wants that to be a little bit less spottable, depending on what Neeb would scout with. I mean, usually it's a Stargate, so you'll see it anyway.
Yeah, just so uncommon. I mean, we talked about it in game 1. It's just so uncommon in 2018's PvZ to see something that's not a Stargate in the game. It does exist. You know, Twilight Council openings, Robo openings, they do exist. Wow, that Adept. Surrounded, shut down, eaten, deleted. Not even getting a kill. Oh, I got one drone kill, but not getting a second.
So Warp Prism is already on the way now, as well as 2 more gates. And the Twilight Council only now starts, so whatever he wants to get from the Twilight Council shouldn't finish on time with whatever units he wants to be aggressive with. Maybe it's just a couple Adepts, and then he'll... Like,
maybe. That
would make sense. Imagine he makes some Adepts now, harasses with them, and then starts something out of the Twilight Council. But look at Bly. He's ready. He's had enough. He's been pushed around enough.
He's been bullied enough. You know what? He sees that Warp Prism, so he knows the Robo opening, and he might think twice about this Nidus here. He might want some of those units at home when that Roach Warren finishes up.
It's going to be Queens, Roaches, and Bly is going to commit everything to this to try and kill Neeb here.
Oh, Zealots. Hasn't started charge just yet.
Bly is on 32 drones. Oh my god, this is huge. He's committing everything to this. I think what he would love to happen here is to shut down this Prism, either send it away or snipe it. Snipe it will be better, obviously, and then go for the Nidus on the other side of the map, and Neeb would have a reduced amount of units. Neeb actually spots the minimal saturation. I think he realizes what's happening. He's flying home.
He's coming home, but we'll see if it's a little bit too late. A bunch of Queens and Roaches starting to push through for Bly. The energy on the Queens isn't huge, but it's enough to drop some creep tumors and start pressing the issue. They got a couple transfusions here on these Queens. Not that many Roaches just yet.
Yeah, and I like this by Neeb. He warps in Stalkers. He's gonna try and kite these Roaches because they don't have Roach speed.
Gonna get an Immortal out. That's gonna help out a ton. Corner boosting that robotics facility. That's a very big priority target here for Bly to get rid of that Immortal. And Neeb's gonna have to shepherd it and keep it away. These Stalkers are very, very good against Roaches. They do that bonus against Armored, and they have that ability to kite and do a lot of range damage as well. And Bly knows that he can stop at least the third Nexus from happening, and he is still, you know, still has some transfusions on these Queens, but it feels like once the second Immortal comes out for Neeb, he should be able to actually go toe-to-toe with this army and just push it back completely.
Neeb has so much kiting capability here, even with a few Ravagers.
And the Prism.
All he has to, yeah, exactly. All he has to do is dodge the corrosive bites. Remember, we saw Shadowrun against the Laser earlier. 2 Immortals and a Prism killed 26 supply worth of Roach Ravagers, so...
Oh, nice. This is pretty smart for Bly here. The Lings aren't hugely important in this battle, so they go down to the natural Nexus at the front line, do 6 probes worth of damage, which is nice, but these Immortals pull back to the shield batteries, and that's going to be it for the Nidus here from Bly. Yeah, he's going to have to pull out. I can't believe he's committing more units to this.
I think he can't transition anyway. Yeah. 2 Lone Walkers, he's going to commit, but they just doesn't have enough. There's 3 Immortals now.
That's just way too much here from Neeb, and with the low drone count of Bly, a plan B is unlikely here. Nice Prism Micro from Neeb as well.
Look at the soup, Bly.
I'm looking at it, Todd, and it's pretty bad for the Zerg. Oh my god, he lost so little here. Look at those trades. Neeb playing like a god in his series here against Bly. Bly just trying to do whatever he can here with these Lings, hoping to try and lower that worker count, so maybe he can turn this into a quote-unquote regular game. He is droning back at home, getting a Spire, but this is not an economic situation that he wants to be in at all. Neeb has the potential to just honestly move across the map and just kill him right now.
Yeah, desperation Spire here from Bly, who's not even mining that much gas just yet. I mean, it would take a miracle for him to win this, and I think this time around, Neeb's not gonna flex his macro muscles. He's just gonna move across the map and right out kill him, just because he has so much. He has the better economy, he's got the better army, and he's got the better skills to pay the bills.
As a legendary StarCraft community member from the old days, big on Twitch, used to say, if your opponent's doing something weird, just go kill him. And that's going to be.
That sounds like a great thing to do.
It is a great quote. I'm changing it slightly because there's an R-rated version of it, but but Neeb is going to do exactly that. He's going marching into the main base here of Bly. Bly really doesn't have a whole lot for his name. He's got a bunch of Ravagers morphing at the front lines at that Nidus Worm, and the Biles get split here by Neeb. He's got that Warp Prism. He's got 3 Immortals. He's got a bunch of Archons, and that is going to be too much for Bly to handle. He's got way too many units. He's losing his drones, pulling off the line, doing whatever he can to hold on, but it is just far too much for the American Protoss. Neeb really crushing through this series so far on match point already.
Making it look easy, back on form, and not letting these Zergs get away with anything. He realized quickly what was happening and defended perfectly. Like I say, like He went for Stalker, so he was able to kite. So many people here would make the mistake of warping in stuff like at depth, which will do nothing, like you're fighting, but then maybe you're losing them. No, he warped in Stalkers, kited a whole bunch, as much as he could, made shield batteries in the back to make sure he could always pull back into those. And with that full ranged army, preserved his army count really, really well, and really made that look like a foolish attempt. Whereas if Blight does this, he will beat 99.9% of Protoss players they would play against usually.
Absolutely. Like most of the Protoss players, he'd been on ladder every day or wherever he practices, he'd be killing so many people with that strategy. And I actually really like it on 16-bit as well, because there's that pocket area. If your opponent isn't expanding down there, you can put the Nidus down there. The main base, the way it's laid out, there's a lot of space to the left of your Nexus if you're in the top right, like it was, where you can get a Nidus down, where the Protoss is going to have their production usually at the wall. And it looks like Bly has...
Did you see that? He looked devastated for a second, and then he just nodded. He's like, all right, you got this.
You know what? Yeah.
You got this, Bly. You're on fire. Is it hashtag Neeb on fire? No, I didn't think so. It's hashtag Bly on fire, so
is it
time to do this.
Well, we'll see. If he doesn't win this next map, he might literally be on fire here. There's been a lot of Storms, been a lot of Archons, been a lot of Immortals, just tearing his units apart here. And Neeb on match point already. A lot of people would have expected this result if it does end up going this way. But I have seen stranger things happen, especially on the WCS stage, Todd.
Oh, yeah. It's going to take a hell of a comeback, though, from Bly. Special game plans. He needs nothing else, I think, in this matchup. Let's see if he goes for yet another one here on Lost and Found.
And at the bottom left here on match point, all the way from America, this is Neeb! USA.
Land of the free.
Home of the brave. And the top right here, from the Ukraine, this is Bly! One of his countrymen has something that I kind of agree with you there when you said tactics is a thing. Like, I'm just thinking about White right now. Special tactics.
Special tactics as Zerg.
Yeah. There's plenty of special tactics that Zerg can do.
But there is no such thing as White special tactics when it was White though. Bly with the drone headed across the map here already. I mean, he's already got a hatch going down on his side of the map. Do we see a proxy hatch?
I don't think so. That would be a little bit strange. Yeah, I can see that the observer showing us there's no gases, which means that it's actually going hatchery first and just trying to decide what he wants to do here with this drone. Maybe, yeah, okay, so he's going to go with the hatchery here to just block the natural nexus of Neeb. There's no pocket expand here on Lost and Found, so he has to expand here.
And here's the thing, against Bly, you can never know what this is. You don't know if it's like for a block or if he plans on making roaches, so Neeb immediately is like, I don't care what it's for, I'm just going to kill it because I have to make my nexus there anyway, so he pulls the probes.
Yeah, makes an Evo chamber there on the creep that he has before it recedes. Very common for Zergs to do those two things and then try and keep the drone alive, which is more than easy. He's only got a Zealot to be able to chase down this drone, and the drone's a little bit faster.
That was nicely delayed, actually.
Oh, really? You don't want another hatchery, Bly. Surely not.
He thought about it for a second. He was like, nah, not worth it. Oh, if he takes the gas, wow. That seems super worse, to be honest.
It's something that, you know, even though Bly is not doing critical damage to Neeb or anything like that with a drone, like it's annoying more than anything, but it's something that gets in your head a lot when you're playing against Zergs like this.
Yeah. Does it get that much in your head, though, when you're up to 0?
Probably not. You see the extractor's already taken some...
It's like an annoying mosquito, you know, like it's like, it's gonna annoy you, but it's not gonna kill you, clearly.
Yeah. If you slap it when it's on your shoulder, it's not gonna bother you anymore. And we got a Stargate opener here from Neeb, rather, so he's got a little bit, he's slowed down a little bit, but not the biggest of deals here. The Nexus will finish up. It's only halfway done now instead of like 3/4 of the way done, which it normally would be.
I'm just trying to think like what it would take for Bly to, you know, surprise Neeb somehow and mount some sort of comeback, because Neeb has been playing so solid. I think he needs to force this series into something really weird, and I know exactly the term for it. He needs to force this series into a clown fiesta.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm eating what you're cooking.
Wow, actually forcing 3 spores. Wow. Okay,
That's
well, that can die and know it's done its job.
Yeah, it's not a bit of damage there. I mean, dying kind of sucks, but more drones coming out here from Bly. It's a pretty regular open, apart from the the hatchery block there on the Nexus and the Evo chamber block and that sort of thing. it's all pretty regular stuff. Nothing crazy out of Bias getting link speed to make sure those lings have a little bit of map control. The ability to defend against Adept's going to be easier. And Neeb going for a very regular opener as well. Phoenix into Oracle.
Yeah, his gas income was a little bit delayed because he took the later second assimilator. You remember he had to pull a lot of probes in the start, so it's actually okay. Opening Phoenix into Oracle, you can get a second Oracle later on, then you can make sure that you're keeping the Zerg honest, because even if there is one Spore and one Queen in one base, you can pick up that Queen and then still send in the 2 Oracles to kill drones.
How many lings does Bly have right now? Just the 2. I feel like you need to have a couple more lings and a couple and both queens on these adepts, because even though it's just 2 adepts, they really die very slowly to just queens by themselves. And it looks like Neeb's not even going to bother with that. He just shades back, cancels the shade rather. Phoenix coming in and seeing that there's a Spore in the main as well. The Phoenix has the ability to actually like lift up the queen and make things easier for the Oracle. And Neeb's going for this Zest style double Stargate. Roddy probably pumping his fists in the green room right now. Excited to see this from the WCS champion.
I mean, he started this movement.
No, it wasn't Zest, my bad, it was Roddy.
And Lair now starting for Bly, who, I mean, it just feels like he's getting slowed down so much. The Spore's not ready on that third base. He's gonna lose 2 more drones.
Yeah.
Neeb is just so clean with everything. Like every time he gets in there, does the damage, get out with his unit alive. Or even if he doesn't get out of there alive, he still does enough damage with it.
Well, big ling force here from Bly, and if he can run into the natural or into the main base, very annoying for Neeb to deal with. But the Zealot gets in a position. The Adept might go down. That's a nice pick off. He could even delay that third Nexus. In fact, the probe's going home. It's like, uh-oh.
Bly needed something like this to happen there. So that's really nice. He's going to delay the third base quite a bit.
Oh, that's a lot of links coming out of here, Bly. Does he have a Bailey Nest? No, he starts.
Hydra is then going down now. I mean, this might be another attack / all-in here in a minute. If he stops droning up. And it's, I mean, against this many Phoenixes, it's really hit or miss as well if you go for a big attack.
I think if you have so many lings like this, like what Bly's going for, and if he can continue to stop the third Nexus from going down, it might be worth it to have this many lings just continuously stopping the third.
Actually now being pumped out from Neeb after getting, like, like 5-6 Phoenixes. So he snipes an Overlord. Now Bly sees this. I don't know if he was planning to make a lot of Hydras and attack, but now he might have to reconsider or reconfigure the way he's going to do it.
Nearly loses one Phoenix, but the others actually Rabadon lift those Queens up and save that last Phoenix there. Nice move from Neeb. Sweet micros. Templar Archives comes down. He's heading towards tier 2. Bly continuing to deny the third Nexus with that link count.
Still no third base started for Neeb, so if I was Bly here, I wouldn't mind droning up slightly more and then getting a ton of units and hitting a late timing on that third base of Neeb, which is going to be super delayed. But Neeb, he's finding damage himself. He's making sure he doesn't let that drone count get out of control. And he's using his Phoenixes very well.
Bly actually snuck in through the natural here. He's in the main base of Neeb doing some probe damage. Keep in mind that Neeb is going to have a pretty scary army shortly here as Oracles are up as well. So Bly, he hasn't been injecting that third hatchery actually now that I was thinking about it. So now he is. Very nice. It's Queen's Rule in the main and in the natural by there.
Dark Shrine.
Yep.
Phoenix DT.
Phoenix DT.
That's going to be sick actually, because Bly doesn't expect this at all, and if you don't expect this, you're never gonna have enough overseers to make sure you can detect the Dark Templars. Oh, he's even gonna go Phoenix range. And then Pulse Crystals.
That's so sick.
So the Phoenixes, they're gonna shoot from super far. They can kill overseers even better.
Nice taste support catch there on those lings. They couldn't escape this time.
I wonder if this is a serious thing or if it's because he's like 2-0 and he's so comfortable that he's like, you know what? Let's have some real fun there.
You think he's styling on him?
Yeah. Cyril, are you watching? I'm coming for you.
Got the links here of Bly just getting on stasis and trying to run away here from Neeb, whose force is starting to grow quite a bit. There's getting more Zealots out, actually. Is he getting charge? Did he get charge?
No, he didn't.
All right. Well, I mean, that'd be a pretty nice addition here to the charge lots. His anti-Hydra countermeasures is actually quite weak. If Bly like committed to a big ball of Hydralisks, Neeb could potentially be in a bit of trouble here.
I mean, the problem is that Bly has no idea. And even if he did, like, how do you get enough overseers to keep on detecting? He starts carriers. So I guess he's gonna have Phoenixes plus Dark Templars defensively, which makes it easier for him to go into carriers.
Wow. Well, I mean, carriers without the mothership, without a bunch of like storms and units underneath them, are actually quite weak. The Phoenixes can make the difference, I suppose. Looking at a few of these Hydras, killing about 3 of them there, and the Hydras actually kill one of those Phoenixes as a result.
Here's the thing, he's keeping Bly on his side of the map. And Bly, like, I mean, he keeps on falling behind. He probably doesn't know exactly where he's at. Will Bly kind of smell this and be able to go for an attack? Because it feels like he kind of needs to. If he waits for too long, if there is too many carriers, it's going to be so hard for him to actually fight. Oh, the Phoenixes were about to fly into the Hydralisks.
Yeah, they took a bit of damage there.
He goes back.
Phoenixes are very important for Neeb. There is presence on the other side of the map. There's no Warp Prism. There's no like Zealot run-bys or anything like that. He still hasn't started charge. Hasn't gotten a Storm either. These are all kind of important things for Neeb to have to make these carriers scary, to be honest.
Remember, we got some Terrans and Zergs through already to the next round for now. 2 Terrans and 2 Zergs. And Neeb now is looking to try and make Protoss great again in WCS.
Well, we see if he can. I kind of like Bly's situation more than Neeb, even though he's getting his carriers out. Oh, a bunch of the Phoenixes getting caught by the Hydras there. 3 of them go down, nearly a 4th. And yeah, like I said, a bunch of Hydras are actually very, very dangerous to Neeb.
Graviton Catapult is not even finished, so these carriers are not going to have that many interceptors. Oh my god, this is looking super scary. This might be an overextension by Neeb to fight there. Let's see if those Banelings can find some damage.
The Nexus goes down, the Banelings... I mean, they were expecting High Templar and Gateway units to fight here.
Oh, the force field is
nice
beautiful.
Force fields, yeah, but I mean, he's still losing quite a bit here to these Hydras, though. The Phoenixes really can't stand and fight. There's no more interceptors for the carriers. Oh, okay, lifting up a few of those Hydras, holding him out a little bit. Bly pulls back, but I feel like he traded really well.
Yeah, for sure. Look at the supply. Now he's quite a bit ahead. Ahead in Walkers, 77 to 66. He might just be happy to pull back and from there decide if he wants to go for a next timing, which, I mean, I wouldn't mind. He's got good saturation. Just make a ton of Hydras, keep attacking.
I think just keep attacking, yeah. Just keep going with it.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard for Protoss to get the critical mass just because that first attack happened before there were going to be enough carriers that would crush that. And not having Gravity on Catapult was also a big mistake there, I believe. Look, he's going to sentries. So I think Neeb's going to want to try and rely on force fields against the Banelings and Guardian Shield against the Hydralisks, which is smart. But I think Bly will not give him the time to reach that. Creep is at that base that Neeb's trying to take. So he's going to reinforce super fast. And Bly's just going to keep on attacking. Neeb is in trouble now.
Yeah, certainly. Neeb's trying to style on Bly a little bit here, and he might lose a mapper as a result. Bly doing a lot of damage with these Hydras. I think Bly should absolutely be starting to get +1 attack for these Hydras, rolling in those Banelings to get those sentries. Nice force fields from Neeb, though.
Yeah, Neeb finally realizes that fourth base is not happening. He keeps on pulling back, lands some force fields, but those Hydras, they keep on killing the interceptors. It's hard for Neeb to replace those. He's only on 3 bases against a Zerg on 5 bases.
Queens are here to transfuse, and they have tons of energy. These Hydras can stand and fight for quite a while. Just even moving into these interceptors and picking them off is going to be the way for Bly to even this series out, or potentially start working towards it. Bly's Hydra count is getting a little low, but he is still pulling back Neeb here. He's getting on top of that Cyber Core as well. Even Corruptor's coming in to help out. What is his Corruptor countermeasure? The answer is nothing. He's got Stalkers, and that's basically it. And the Hydras aren't even going to let him get anywhere near him. The probes being pulled here from Neeb. The Corruptors are also just engaging the carriers fresh out of the Stargates here. And I think that Bly is going to be turning this into a series shortly, Todd. These Corruptors are just plucking these air units out of the sky. The Hydras just getting rid of all the interceptors. And that's it for Neeb. He doesn't have anything anymore. Bly getting a map on the board here.
That's exactly what he needed here, for Neeb to be doing something a little bit unconventional. Seizes the opportunity and tells him, did you really think this was going to work against me? Did you forget who you were playing against? Of course I was going to attack the whole time and put a stop to this clown fiesta of a build that you were going for.
You think you know the Clown Fiesta? Bly was born in it. Hold it by it. You can't style on this kid. He won't let you do it.
And Neeb actually looks a little bit distraught here after this game.
It was a really weird game from Neeb.
Yeah,
what he did, I actually have never seen before. Not at this high level, anyway.
I thought he was doing pretty well, to be honest. Like, I don't know.
I just think without storms, you just make yourself so weak to Hydralisks. It's like I even said in the cast, I'm like, well, I mean, if you make a big ball of Hydralisks, don't you just win?
If he just played standard from the moment he had the double Stargate and then he was going to Templar Archives, I think he would have been just fine. But going for carriers there, Bly punished this perfectly with Hydralisks, Banelings on the ground, and then reinforced with the queens. He had the creep in that location around the 4th base. I think that's what I was thinking, like when Neeb saw that army coming the first time on this 4th base, I think he should have just ejected, because if he pulls back and masses, then he gets graviton catapult, then he gets enough carriers for to be able to basically take that 4th base comfortably and get much better trades than he got in the previous fight.
Maybe like a lot of cannons or something like that would be able to help out a little bit there. Oh no. We got another sign war out there in the crowd. It's a lot more busyness on that USA sign though. And let's get into it. Guys, we are going into map number 4. Bly is fighting back. Can he tie up the series? Or will this guy still a match point get it done? This is USA's Neeb. And in the bottom left here, Redshift, this is Ukraine's Bly. Oh my God, that BM sign at the back. The disrespect.
Bly definitely got some good momentum here with not just with that last game, even with that hatchery going down here. Neeb was trying to block that, got there a little bit late, out of position. Bly will seize the opportunity and drop down that hatchery. And we do see standard builds. Other than that, Bly loves grabbing that extractor right after dropping down the hatchery. He's one of those guys, he's like, yeah, he's taking the gas early, all is well in the world. He's meant to do that, the sky is blue. Bly went for hatch extractor.
That's right. So, all pretty regular stuff from both players so far, but this is a pretty irregular map. It can equal some pretty crazy, wacky games. Neeb lately, you know, he's been that guy that you would just assume, hey, he's going to macro. He's a macro guy, he just does macro builds. He does the same build every time. It's just that he does it so well that you lose anyway. But he doesn't have that image anymore, in my opinion. He actually has a lot of really tricky stuff. Like, I mean, even on 16-bit, he had a robo opening, which is something you don't really see every day. Like, you always expect someone like Neeb to go for Stargate every single game. But he is kind of that Protoss now, where you could see a Twilight Council, Resonant Glaives, a bunch of Adepts with a bunch of gateways start and just crush you.
Here's the thing, he's just so good mechanically that he doesn't need to, you know, become a cheeser. It can be good to have in his repertoire like a couple builds where he gets more aggressive, but in the end, always taking that 3rd base, making probes continuously, getting his upgrades going, and just macroing well as he's harassing is always going to be better for him. Just like for some players, it's the opposite. Some players are mostly good on 1-2 bases, but then they kind of start fading if they have to play like a real game with economy on 3 bases, so that's kind of what they should stick to.
Blast pulled all but one drone out of gas here, so he's really hammering into that mineral income. Now, he doesn't have a gold base, because the gold base can be abused by Protosses with a couple Stalkers or even Adepts. Very, very annoying on that other side of that mineral line. So with this extra mineral income, Bly's going to get that 3rd base a little bit quicker, and he's about to get his drone count and queen count up a little bit. First Adept here from Neeb, and it's just the one actually at the moment. There's another one shading towards to help out, but they want to meet up together. 2 Adepts, 1 shot a drone.
Where do I go? Left, right, shade, no shade, shade.
And see you later. There we go, they join up together. But 1 Adept is so heavily damaged that a committal from Neeb would be a little bit questionable at this point. There's a lot of lings on the way here from Bly. It's just an Oracle Adept opening.
Actually gonna shade there?
This is the most normal opening I've ever seen on Redshift, by the way.
Yeah.
The most normal ZVP I've ever seen on Redshift. Normally at this point, there's like a bunch of Ravages. Protoss is going for like...
It's so normal that it's abnormal.
It is abnormal to be normal on Redshift. If that makes sense. Hopefully it does.
If it doesn't, we'll still take it.
That's right.
Oracle into Phoenix here from Neeb, who might be looking to take that gold base here momentarily. But got a bunch of Adepts here. And adding on 2 more gates. So might be going for Adepts, like more Adept Warpins on the ground to be aggressive with. Usually if you just add 1 more gate, then obviously you'd want to rush that additional base, but because he went for 1 more gateway here in the main base, maybe he wants to go for some aggression. Not as good as in game 1, the Stasis Ward. I don't think we're going to be seeing anytime soon an as big a Stasis Ward as we saw previously.
I seriously doubt it. That's the biggest Stasis Ward catch I've seen in a very long time. The Warp Gate's just about to finish up here for Neeb. Several gateways, so plenty of production to be able to go across the map if he wants with these Adepts, or even just try and secure a 3rd Nexus, and it looks like that might be what he's going for here. Because Neeb really does like playing the later stages normally.
I like that a lot, actually. The robo outside of the wall. That means he's never going to have to move the unit in his wall to get the immortals out. They're going to pop out of his wall already. And it's kind of protected in the area because there is a small ramp down there. So even if he can drop down some shield batteries, for example, to really help fortify the area if you were to be attacked. Oh my God, these oracles. This is like an oracle dream here. To fly into a base like this and no spores ready. There's just a bunch of drones scrambling around, running around like headless chickens, dropping spores and extractors to try and survive.
They're trying. There's a few little tricks here from Blad to try and keep those drones alive as long as possible, but they do go down those double oracles, lose a lot of energy on the oracles at least. So that means they're going to be a little bit weaker to these lings, which are heading across the map. He's going to have to rely on the depths just purely to defend here as the oracles are out of juice. Oh, hello.
That's uncharacteristic here, especially because, like I said, the immortals were going to pop outside. So big mistake by Neeb, unconventional. To let that happen, Lings now run into the main base. Going to be able to get more probes here.
Oracle's just got enough for a couple more pulsar swipes and they get rid of those lings, but not before 5 probes go down. Neeb's not that far ahead on workers, so it's not the biggest of deals for Neeb, considering the third Nexus is about to finish up as well. So economically, I think both players, I would say Neeb in a pretty good spot, Bly not in the greatest, because he's been really making a lot of units here. Even more lings on the way here for Bly with a Baneling Nest. Uh-oh. I think he's going to try and bust Neeb wide open and tear him apart.
Yeah, I mean, on this map, it makes a lot of sense the way the second base is set up and the third base with that big ramp. It's very hard to be in the right position to defend both bases comfortably. But Neeb is the one taking the fight to Bly yet again. There's a lot of links in defense. Those adepts dealing with them pretty well so far. There's no resonating glaives, as our observer here is pointing out, so they don't attack as fast as they would otherwise. But they're still shading all over the place like it's nobody's business and forcing those drones to pull away from that mirror line here for now as well. Charge is actually going to start, as well as 6 more gates here for Neeb.
Oh, wow. Neeb taking a lot of damage on that third Nexus. And it looks like he wants to go for a massive charge lot transition here, and that is very scary to a guy that's making Ling Hydra. He does have a Baneling Nest as well. Banelings can be a great way to deal with charge lots. And he's getting Baneling speed, which is smart for Black.
By the way, that's the biggest tell that a Zerg really wants to be aggressive towards your bases. Like he moved to that right-hand side location there, and he saw Banelings morphing, and then Black canceled. He was like, you didn't see that. Moved away from there. Neeb most likely knows there's going to be an attack coming. That Nexus already kind of low on hit points here.
Yeah, very low on hit points. Shields are all depleted. They regenerate a bit of that, but with charge 3/4 of the way done, Neeb should have it for the next fight against Bly. But Bly is going to be able to have speed Banelings, a bunch of Hydras as well, and he's making a creep highway straight through the middle. He's not covering the map with creep to be defensive. Oh, that bird's like, oh my god, what the hell is that?
It's always the one tumor as well.
Yeah, like
kind of going forward.
Most Zergs spread creep everywhere to be reactive. Bly makes a highway, a red carpet, if you will, for his units to go across the map to kill you. Oh, I like this.
Yeah, morphing them from far away. I mean, even if Neeb has units in position to defend, they'll be trading. Bruce Spine's about to finish here, and we're about to find out how many drones Bly wants to go for exactly. He's still adding some here and there as he's taking a 4th base on the bottom right-hand side of the map. That's a lot of Archons here already kind of out on the map.
Yeah.
These fights are always so difficult because it feels like Banelings will blow up the Zealots easily, but there is the Archons you need to take in consideration. So he kind of, for Bly to win this game, I feel like he kind of has to do it right now. He's going to go for the Nexus maybe. Ooh, that was close.
Doesn't kill the Nexus. Hydra's in, trying to finish it off. They're targeting down, and the Nexus does go down. Bly committed quite a bit of gas to that. The Hydra's going down, Baneling's dying. And that means that's forces that he doesn't have, and Neeb is pushing with a very, very good anti-Ling Bane army here. There's a lot of Archons.
There's only 6 Banelings available in Bly's army. Big warping in the main base with 4 Zealots. He's going to be able to reinforce even more there in a second. Will be...
All right, well, the Baneling's better finish up here. Bunch of Lings just body blocking here to try and slow down those Archons with the Hydras doing damage to the back, but once the wall of Ling Bane is gone, the Archons can collapse on these Hydras. Oh, we got rid of that Oracle there, and it looks like Bly is starting to thin out his forces. He lost a few drones in the main, though. The charge lots are actually doing sick damage against the Hydra Den.
There's just so many of them. The lair under siege now. Some drones have already died, and Bly, he has to kite his way out of this one, but he's got Hydralisk, and he's backed into a corner behind the middle line of his natural. Neeb, he wants to move on to the next round. He might be able to do it here with this attack. He's got so much.
Well, with the main gone, it's just on to Lings here, and possibly Bane's for Blythe. He doesn't have enough. Neeb is just pressing the issue here. He doesn't need to go home. He still has so many charge slots alive. They're coming from the main base into the natural. Blythe does not have an answer. Neeb is too powerful. He cannot be stopped. And if he's got to be stopped, Blythe will not be the one to do it. That natural is going to go down along with the main. Baneley Nest under siege. Blythe, in Blythe fashion, is just holding down to the last man. But I'm telling you, it is not going to happen. Blythe cannot stop this army.
Look at the supply one last time, Maynard. Neeb even recalls out of there.
That's respecting this situation a little bit too much, I think. That's Neeb being ultra careful, possibly a little too so. Baneley chasing down those Zealots, but the Zealots, I mean, Neeb can afford to throw away stuff. Blythe absolutely cannot. He's on 59 supply. The fact that he's still in this game is amazing.
Is it though?
And he has to GG. There it is. Neeb gets the victory in the end there against Blythe. It wasn't a final battle. He went out with a bit of a whimper instead of a bang. But in the end, Neeb gets the 3-1 victory. And we'll be seeing him in the round of 8. Nicely done. It's good to see America making it all the way pretty deep here in Valencia. Their representative Neeb showing off that there is still the power of a potential North American WCS champion. Well, I had a really good game on Lost and Found. He read that situation very, very well. I feel like getting crazy against Blythe just doesn't work. You got to just be standard and solid and be able to scout him really, really well and read him really, really well. We had a great series here on stage, but it's time to interview Neeb with Smix. Crossover.
Thank you very much, Maynard. Congratulations, Neeb. You're back in the top 8 here in Valencia, and especially after the unexpected early exit in Austin, this must feel more satisfying.
Yeah, it feels good. I think I have a really tough opponent next round in Showtime. I think he's probably the hardest one for me because my PvP is so weak. So it doesn't feel that good because I'll probably lose next round anyway.
But you played Showtime earlier on in the event, and back then we saw that you were able to take him down. So is it because it's PvP as a matchup that you're just not confident in, or is it Showtime? Which is it?
I think it's mainly PvP. I don't really know what to do at all, and Showtime's pretty solid in general. Like, I think he made some big mistakes in the games we played. Like, he would probably 2-0 me most times. Like, he just got a little bit unlucky in that series.
But when we look back at the history of you and Showtime, you have taken a lot of series off him as well. If you are able to take him down, I did see that on your side of the bracket happened to be all the Protosses. So does that make you feel a little bit discouraged, or do you feel like if you can take down Showtime, the other Protosses are a bit easier to take on?
Yeah, definitely. If I can beat Showtime, I can beat any other Protosses. Like, he's the best at everything by far, I think, in EU.
So we'll see how that match pans out, as that will be the next quarterfinal match for you. So best of luck in that, and let's head back to the desk with Nathanius.
Thank you very much, Smix. Surprisingly unconfident after that victory is Neeb, but he does move on after a series against the madman himself, Bly, but keeping it cool, especially in those earlier games.
It was cool to see that Bly actually did get a win out of one of those games, and I think he gave it his all, but there's really no shame, no matter what Zerg you are, anywhere in the world. There's no shame in losing to Neeb.
No, of course. He's just an ultimate Protoss player, but I do also find it kind of presumptuous of Neeb. He's like, well, it's going to be hard next round against Showtime. Showtime hasn't won his match yet, okay? Let's not count out Clem.
You know, it's funny, I almost forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was already thinking about that, future matches, if that was the case.
Clem's pretty good.
Clem's a great player.
Yeah, he's all right.
But I think Showtime is so experienced and put together in his Protoss overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. Like, I expect to play against Showtime, but yeah, he's kind of like speaking in ultimates, like like the match has already happened, which I do find funny. But we're getting into this weird thing where each one of the round of 8 matches could just be mirrors.
It could be.
So you know what? Maybe Neeb has actually just crunched the numbers in control style, and he's like, well, we got 2 Zergs, 2 Terrans, and the only way for it to be 2 Protoss is if Showtime wins.
Oh my gosh, he's recognized a pattern here.
He's got 200 IQ bracket interpretation.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. Getting wild. We're getting into those mirror matchups that WCS is so well known for, but not all ZVZs, so it's cool.
Yeah, the dream, really. But any other final thoughts on that series? I mean, Bly did do some things a little bit wonky, but it really just felt like Neeb had everything held down together nicely
I think
the whole time.
The problem is Neeb from A to Z is just so solid. It's kind of funny hearing him talk because he's like, I don't really know what I'm doing in PvP. And then you watch him play PvP and you're like, okay, well, you're definitely doing a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't feel it fully, but I think to anybody else who's watching, he's completely solid. I'm hoping to see more of Bly in the future. I think he is a great player. But you can even see when you narrow it down to just these few players, you could actually have a huge gap in skill just in this phase of the tournament alone. So that's kind of crazy. I hope Neeb can get deep in this as an American.
Yeah, well, it would be amazing to see one of these dream finals, right? Like a Cyril Neeb final at this point would just be crazy.
That's it feels like a weird pipe dream. There's just so many good players here. It's like, I do think it's going to be tough for Neeb to get out of this side of the bracket. But our next matchup, the one that Neeb thought already was over, is going to be a Terran versus Protoss. It's Clem versus Showtime. And Clem, the young Terran who made his WCS debut in Austin, looks like he could be Showtime's little brother in this picture.
Almost his son.
He's
so
super
much
young.
smaller. But
I'm so glad we're at the point in time where you get these super young players that completely and totally grew up playing StarCraft are now finally able to compete. I mean, this is the future generation of pros for StarCraft.
Well, I mean, Clem and Rain are right now coming in 16-year-olds. They think they're hot stuff, but there's a couple 12-year-olds at home watching right now. It's almost their bedtime, so they won't be watching
somewhere
too much
in the world,
longer,
the world's
but
big enough.
They're coming for them.
There's an 8-year-old, okay, that's playing, and the parents are creeping into the bedroom, and the lights are all off, and there's just a screen with light coming off, and 400 APM. It's happening.
Yeah. And all the other players are like, who is this guy? He must be
they don't
cheating.
know yet.
Yeah.
That's right.
And in another 8 years, we're taking over StarCraft themselves.
That's right.
That's going to be our next series, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series. When we return, it's going to be that TVP Clem versus Showtime.